Are REITs a good hedge against inflation? And what ETFs are REITs? Also, when are you finished with the real estate course in the MBA curriculum? That's coming soon, I promise you. I am working on that. Yeah. Okay, so I don't think that REITs are a great hedge against inflation because when interest rates go up a lot, what happens is it makes people want to buy fewer houses, fewer mortgages, fewer corporate investments in corporate headquarters, etc., which negatively impacts real estate. Okay, so, but don't be seduced with REITs when it comes to high dividend yields. And for those of you not familiar with REITs, REITs are a way to invest in groups of real estate property by buying a ticker like a stock. And by law in most countries, if you buy a REIT, the person that issues it has to give out 90% of the profit in the form of a dividend. And that's why a lot of REITs have very high dividend yields. Now, whenever you're doing investment research on a REIT or any stock, if you see the dividend yield is really high, like 20% or something, don't just buy the stock. Don't be seduced by a high yield. It might be high for a reason. Like they might have a lawsuit out there that's disclosed in their annual report, meaning their 10K. Or they might have a lot of debt and they won't be able to make their debt covenant payments in the future. So just be careful of that, please. All right. And then you asked ETFs. Yeah. So the best place to do research on ETF, which are exchange traded funds, is a great website called ETFDB. Okay. And that stands for ETFdatabase.com. ETF, we know, are just collections of stocks or commodities, etc., within a database or within one ticker. So what you can do is you can do an ETF screener. You can look at ETFs by geography. Okay, so for example, if you wanted to invest in, Brazil, right here, I'll show you. Instead of going to buy companies on the Bovespa in Brazil, you can buy this ticker here, the EWZ. Okay. Now, whenever you look at ETFs, you got to look at two things. Number one, you got to look at the fees. And number two, the volume, meaning does it trade a lot? Okay, because illiquid stocks own us in a down market, which is what's happening right now. I think we officially entered a bear market a couple of minutes ago as well. A bear market is defined as a 20% pullback from the peak in the market. So the fees here are 0.57%. And that means for every $100 you invest in this REIT here, this Brazil REIT, for every $100 you invest, you pay 57 cents per year in fees, which is not that bad. You want it to be well under 1%, of course. So what you can do is you can click here to see what the components are of this. And a lot of people like to actually use Yahoo Finance. So let me go there with you. Okay. So we'll type in the ticker at the top of EWZ once this loads. Here we go. Whew. It's fun doing these things live, eh? Okay. EWZ. And so you look here at the volume next. And so it trades 29 million shares per day times $32, which means you can get in or out if need be within an hour, less than an hour. Then you can go here to the holdings. Now, since this is a Brazilian REIT, and Brazil, like Canada and Australia, is a very natural resource-rich economy, we can see here the breadth and depth of this REIT, okay, so of this ETF. So base materials is huge, so is energy and industrials. And the largest components include a copper company as well as Petrobras, which is a petroleum Brazilian oil company. Okay. Now, when it comes to ETFs for REITs, you should be able to write ETF REIT here. ETF REIT. Okay. And you can do more research here. And we'll find a single ticker here, and I'll show you. Here's one here. The Alps Active REIT ETF. And it's listed on the NASDAQ. The ticker is REIT. Okay. So let me actually go back to Yahoo Finance and show you this one here. Okay. REIT is the ticker. Okay. REIT. Okay. In Yahoo Finance. Here we go. Good. All right. So the first thing we look at here, Michael, is we look at the fees. Okay. And you can find the fees for this REIT, and I'll show you the components in a second. You can find the fees by going to profile right here. Okay. And we can see here that the annual fee or expense ratio is 68 cents. That's kind of high. That means for every $100 you invest in this REIT, you'll pay 68 cents per year in fees. A little high, but it's manageable. For this one here, what I don't like is the average volume on this. Okay, 6,000 shares times $27. That's not that high. It's manageable enough for most of us to be able to get in and out within a day, but I'd like to see it much higher than that. The last thing you can look at is right here, the holdings. Okay, you can see what are in this REIT. Okay, and again, purchasing this is like buying a stock. It's just a ticker. All right, so we've got all these companies here, including Equinix, which is a data center company. I visited their headquarters out here in the Bay Area before. Okay, so you want to do a lot more research on these before investing. You want to look at the fees, like I mentioned. You also want to look at the breadth and depth of what the holdings are. And you also want to look at how liquid it is, meaning does it trade a lot or not? Because remember, illiquid stocks own you in a down market instead of vice versa.